Sandbox MMA fans, it's time for another matchmaking video. We're matching up everyone from the UFC fight card in Denver. Overall, like I mentioned in my last video, the recap and breakdown. Very good card. Very, very good card. Well exceeded my expectations. Just got crapped on by the co-main and the main event. You're going to see I'm not matchmaking the co-main event today because I could care less about a 37-year-old Chilean and a 40-year-old Russian who they fight next when they're never going to see the top 15 again in their life. So we're not matchmaking them. Co-main event, scrapped. But there are a ton of other fights that we're going to be matchmaking. I thought this was a really good card, and everyone that deserves some matchmaking is going to get some matchmaking. So we are going to start with the prelims as we always do. Move my camera up here because you'd rather see the screen than my gorgeous face. Prelims. First fight on the card, Evan Elder got a good submission win over Darius Flowers. Want to see him fighting Adam Fugit next. Let's not rocket him up the rankings. Let's get him a couple wins before we start looking at rankings. They're similar spots. They're both coming off recent wins. I think Adam Fugit had a win against Josh Kinlan like 2-3 weeks ago. I think it was 3 weeks ago on the Teira versus Perez card, the worst card of all time. Let's have them fight, and neither of them took too much damage. Let's go prelim, November. You put him on the prelims in a fight night in November. I think it would work well. Helps to fill out the card a little bit. Evan Elder's a fun guy to watch fight, so I'd watch his fight. I'd be happy about it too. Watch all the fights. Andre Petrosky with a boring wet blanket low-level win over Josh Fremd using his shitty wrestling. Again, didn't take much damage. Would like for him to turn around for November as well because he is 31. He's getting up there. He might even be 32. Got to see him turn around if he wants to start making a run. I don't think he can because I don't think he's that good. But let's see him fight Zachary Reese. Zachary Reese just going to win very quickly with a knockout over Julian Marquez in the middleweight division on the Louisville card. Got a little bit of hype behind him right now. I think this is a fun matchup. Andre Petrosky's a wrestler. Zachary Reese has good jiu-jitsu, but he also just had a sick knockout. So I'd be interested in seeing this fight, see how it goes. Zachary Reese versus Andre Petrosky, fight night prelim in November. Petrosky will never deserve a main card because he's boring and dumb. Luana Santos got a win over Maria Agapova, very talented. Fight night in December. Want to see her fighting, want to see her active, want to see her going up the rankings. Jasmine Jasudavicius also had a win on this card. She looked really good. Maybe this is a fat step up for Luana Santos. Jasmine Jasudavicius is ranked number 15, so I can see her having one more fight before the Jasudavicius fight, or the Jasudavicius fight, but would love to see this fight. I think it would be very intriguing, interesting, and whoever wins, again, can start looking up in those rankings more. Luana Santos is a babe. I would like to see her get a win, but Jasmine Jasudavicius is pretty talented, so this would be a pretty good fight. You have a really good grappler versus somebody that has strong wrestling, as we just saw in last fight, and decent striking, so do it in fight night in December, last fight night of the card, or last fight night of the year. You do it as a fight night prelim, I think it'd be very interesting. As interesting as it could be. Damone Blackshear got knocked out in 18 seconds and is going to need some rest because it was a bad knockout. So I say fight night in December, about 5-6 months from now, or January. You put him on a fight night on the prelims against Victor Henry. I think this is a good fight. Victor Henry doesn't have crazy power. I don't think he's going to crush Damone Blackshear, but he's got decent grappling. Damone Blackshear is a very well-rounded fighter. Got to get Damone Blackshear some wins again before he starts looking up at those rankings. He fought Batista. He fought Jackson. And we're going to match Jackson up next. But, yeah, Damone Blackshear, let's get him racking up some wins. I think he's a very talented fighter, but he's got to rack a few up. He's got to fight some people that he might be favored against for once and isn't taking it on short notice. Give him a lot of time. Rest, recover, get his chin refreshed, train, and go give him a Victor Henry fight. I think it's a good one to make. December, January, fight night, prelim headliner, co-headliner, something like that. I think Damone Blackshear's a good fighter. I wouldn't do a headliner. I'd like to see cards more stacked, but I know how the UFC kind of does shit now. So, Montel Jackson, great 18-second knockout win. I want him turning around quick. 307 is the pay-per-view in September that I believe is going to be in Salt Lake City. It's either going to be the first week of October or last week of September. He deserves a shot at the rankings. Number 15 ranked Pedro Munoz. I am reluctant to match people up with Pedro Munoz all the time because I see people always want to do it when they want to give someone in the rankings for bantamweight. So I haven't matched Pedro Munoz up with people because of that reason. But I think Montel Jackson's the perfect guy to do that for. Montel Jackson, I think, deserves a shot at the rankings after that win. Great 18-second knockout over a super talented guy in Damone Blackshear, who arguably beat Mario Batista. Let's give him the number 15 ranked contender in Pedro Munoz, who hasn't fought in a while. Let's do this at altitude in Salt Lake City. Montel Jackson, Pedro Munoz, great fight. Open up the main card with it. I'm okay with this being a main card opener. You have two guys that are going to stand on the feet and strike the whole time, and it's going to be a fun fight. So, Pedro Munoz, Montel Jackson, let's test the chin. Joshua Van got knocked out in the third round against Charles Johnson. Take some time off, brother. You got a lot of time. You're 22. You're young. Let's refresh that chin. I'm even okay with you taking longer off if you want. But I do want to matchmake him. Let's get him a win, guys. He's a super talented prospect. Azat Maxim is fighting, I want to say next week or in 2 weeks, or I think he's fighting in Abu Dhabi. I don't know. He's fighting in the upcoming month. Yeah, and I think that he's a little overrated, if I'm being honest. He's a guy that's going to either want to try and wrestle or stand on the feet and use his kicks, but he doesn't have crazy power in the hands, and I think it's a good matchup for Joshua Van to get inside the boxing range, land good body shots, land kicks up, or land punches up top, maybe get a knockout win here, but it's outside of the rankings. It's not a huge step up like Charles Johnson was, comparative to, like, I think Castaneda, or who did he fight? Kung Ho Kang or something like that. Yeah, Joshua Van versus Azat Maxim. Prelim headliner, January, February of a fight night, or you can put him on the prelims of a main card a little bit later in the road in like March or something like that. I'm okay with that. But Joshua Van, man, he's a good fighter. Just drew the short straw of fighting the badass Charles Johnson, who I want turning around and fighting in December. He's been very active, so I'm okay with him taking 5 months, waiting for that ranked opponent that he so much deserves. The ranked opponent that he should fight, Mataus Nicolau. This guy got knocked out by Alex Perez in April. He's taken some time off. Give him the 7 months to fight, and till he fights in December. Let's have him fight Charles Johnson. He's ranked number 10 or 11 here. I think Charles Johnson deserves a ranked opponent. I think he deserved it before he fought Josh Van, if I'm being honest. But now it's time. Give him a ranked opponent. Dvorak never fights. We're not going to put him against Dvorak because he randomly got put in the 15 spot because they didn't know who else to put there. Charles Johnson's probably going to be ranked 15 now. You do Johnson versus Nicolau. That's a good fight to make. Charles Johnson, great defensive wrestling. Nicolau likes to back up a lot of the time, but Charles Johnson throws a lot of volume, and I'm willing to bet that his teep kicks can keep him at range. Charles Johnson, Mataus Nicolau, ranked flyweight fight. Fight night in December, main card. Do it in front of a crowd. If you do like Texas, or if you go somewhere in front of a crowd, put this on the main card opener. Like Nicolau versus Charles Johnson. I think it's a good fight. Now we're going to the main card. Abdul Razak Al Hassan, back of the headshot, cheater, dumb, low IQ, inbred, dumb, stupid. I don't know how many other words I can do. You're dumb. You would have smoked Cody Brundage anyway, but you decided to throw a million back of the headshots, and I didn't match Cody Brundage because I think he should just be cut. Match him with a pair of scissors. The guy's a fucking pussy. He probably fucking scissors when he fucks or whatever, but prelim in August. Turn around quick, dude. Turn around quick. Fight night, prelim in August. Make a quick turnaround. You're ready. You didn't take any damage. If you want to prove to Dana that you're worth keeping in the UFC here with a 12-6 record at 38 years old, fight at a prelim in August against Cesar Almeida. Two strikers, two guys that are going to strike, power versus technique and speed, and also power. So very interested to see how it goes. Cesar Almeida, Abdul Razak Al Hassan. They tried to rocket Cesar up too quick against Roman Kopylov. I think this is the level of competition that Cesar Almeida should be fighting. Al Hassan, Almeida, August, prelim, make it happen. Julian Erosa. Great win, and I don't know why I'm doing Erosa before C-Rod. Maybe people care more about C-Rod. I don't, because he's a fucking bitch, but and ruins prospects. But Julian Erosa, a great win over C-Rod. Turnaround in November. You took a little bit of damage going to war in round 1, but 4 months is a good amount of time to take off, refresh, get yourself back in the octagon at 34 years old, 35 years old. Melquiz El Costa, or Melquiz El Costa, whatever it is. The ugliest man in the history of the UFC. But he's kind of talented. This would be a fun fight. I think these guys are at two similar spots in the rankings. I think Costa can go with a way up. I think Costa's a little bit below him, so he can fight up to fight Julian Erosa. And then I can think Julian Erosa, my dog shuts up, starts barking at nothing. Julian Erosa, one more fight before he can start looking at top 20, 25. I think Julian Erosa is very, very hit or miss when he fights down to his competition. He fights down to his competition when he fights higher-ranked competition, better competition, talented prospect-level competition. He fights really good, well, so I'd be interested to see what happens with this fight. Arosa, Costa, fight night, prelim, November. Make it happen. If you can do this, like the second to last fight in the prelims, I'm okay with it. Christian Rodriguez. Fraud check. Just kidding. It's not necessarily a fraud check. It's a tough fight. He threw himself into a guillotine. He's young. He'll learn. I think he's 26, 27 years old. Let him prelim a fight night in November. Prelim headliner. We can put him against Felipe Lima. Now, Felipe Lima, if you don't remember, he's the guy that took the fight with Muhammad Naimov on short notice and choked him out in round 3. Looked really good in this fight. Fast twitch, muscle, really strong, competitive fighter. This guy fought at featherweight. He might go back down to bantamweight, but if he had success already at featherweight, beating a guy like Naimov, now if you beat a guy like Rodriguez, you put yourself in serious prospect contention. I think he's very talented. I think Christian Rodriguez is talented. I'm very excited to see how this fight would turn out. Rodriguez, Lima. If it's not going to be Lima because Lima goes back down to bantamweight, you can give him kind of like an easier tune-up fight here at 45. I'm trying to think of someone that could work out for him. Not coming to mind. Maybe like a Dawoodu. It's not really an easy fight at all. So I don't know who we'd put him against right now. I think Felipe Lima is a really, really good matchup. You could do C-Rod versus Naimov, 2 guys coming off of losses. I'm totally okay with that. Similar fight schedule. So maybe C-Rod versus Naimov if Felipe Lima goes back down to bantamweight. But fight night, November, prelim headliner, didn't take too much damage. So let's make it happen. Gabriel Bonfim outpaced Angelusa. This guy deserves a main card on a fight night or a prelim for a pay-per-view, like prelim headliner maybe. He's fucking good. Like, Gabriel Bonfim is good. And he's getting better with each fight. He fought Nicolas Dalby, which is a really tough fight, a guy that's just outside the rankings. Just beat Angelusa very easily. Fight night, main card, December, in front of a crowd. Again, Texas, Los Angeles. Soy crowd in Los Angeles, but come to Boston. Like, dude, get this guy on a main card in front of a crowd. D-Rod. Sick fight. Daniel Rodriguez, Gabriel Bonfim, 2 guys outside the rankings at welterweight, but can get into the rankings with a win or 2. Gabriel Bonfim versus D-Rod. Similar fight schedule. Make it happen. This fight's going to be fucking awesome. Main card, that's all I have to say. I mean, you look at this fight and you're like, damn, this one goes hard. Tracy Cortez, the beauty herself, wearing eyelashes in the cage, doesn't take fighting seriously because she cares more about her beauty. Again, which is fine because you are beautiful. But if you're going to take your career seriously, don't wear fucking eyelashes in the cage. Fight night, January, main card, because that's how this shit happens. They're going to put a female fight on the main card when, they're a ranked fighter, because that's the UFC has to cater to the lower common denominator, the woke crowd. But anyway, if you're going to do it, make it a sexy one. Tracy Cortez, Casey O'Neill. There's a total of like 18 out of 20 in that octagon. Dead ass. So, Tracy Cortez, Casey O'Neill, 2 gorgeous women in the flyweight division of the UFC. I think this is the fight to make. Casey O'Neill's fighting Teresa Bleda, who I think she's going to beat in Australia. Turn around after, it'll be 5-6 months by that point. You turn around, you fight Tracy Cortez on the main card in a 3-rounder. Totally okay with that. Feature fight, maybe, something like that. Open up the main card, but you don't want to put people to sleep right off the beginning. Cortez, O'Neill, make it happen. Thug Rose. Main card of a pay-per-view, because that's how the world works now. It's stupid. It's dumb. She got a fucking main event for no fucking reason because she puts on boring fucking fights. 3-round main event. Honestly, you can do a 3-round feature fight, something like that. Fight the loser of Tina versus Grasso. If you have Valentina versus Alexa Grasso, you can maybe do this as a fight night main event, which they probably will do in the Apex because that's what they fucking do. But whoever loses the title fight between Valentina versus Alexa Grasso, have Rose fight. She wins that fight, then she gets the next title shot. It's as simple as that. I don't want to say she fights the winner of this because that's Manon Fiorot. Manon Fiorot kind of beat Rose. I don't really know if she won or not by watching that fight. Could have been not a robbery. It was a close fight, but I kind of think Rose won. But anyway, they gave it to Fiorot. Fiorot beat Blanchfield after that. She's the next contender. Manon Fiorot is going to beat the winner. Rose should fight the loser. Or if you're going to fight the winner, Rose should fight the loser. It's going to be it's going to be a main event of a fight night, or it's going to be on the main card of a fucking pay-per-view, taking up a spot that we don't want it to. So it is what it is. This is how the UFC is now. Dana, again, catering to the lowest common denominator. Fucking woke boys who can't think for themselves. NPC, dumb, stupid pussies. But Drew Dober, based, strong, tough Drew Dober in front of his home crowd, faking retirement. Based. UFC 312 in January, prelim headliner. They're going to have 312 as the pay-per-view in January because 310 is going to be December, 309 is going to be MSG, 308 is going to be Abu Dhabi at the end of October. 307 is going to be the beginning of October or the end of September. 306 is obviously the Sphere, so that's why mathematically this is going to be 312 in January. Prelim headliner against Michael Johnson. Drew Dober will be able to channel his powers against Michael Johnson. It will be a fun fight. We haven't seen these two fight yet. They absolutely should fight. It's long time waiting. They both can wrestle. They both like to strike. They're both southpaws. It would be a fun striking exchange, I think, with a little bit of wrestling mixed in, but nothing too crazy. Love this fight. Drew Dober, Michael Johnson, make it happen. I can't believe we haven't seen it yet. December, main card, Gene Silva. Gene Silva is main card material, whether it be pay-per-view, whether it be a fight night, it don't matter. Gene Silva is one of the most fun fighters in the UFC right now, and he is dangerous. There are options for him to fight. If he stays at 55, I want Jalen Turner. You're going to see his picture in here, but there's two at 45 that he can fight. One of them is possibly Sadiq Youssef. Right? So he can fight Sadiq Youssef or Jalen Turner at 45 or 55. Sadiq Youssef gets him just outside the rankings, which I already think he's just outside the rankings. Jalen Turner gets him in the 55 rankings, the lightweight rankings, or the fight that I want to see most. Gene Silva versus Josh Emmett. I'm going to leave that one there. Let it stew for a sec. The amount of intensity, the amount of tense feelings that we're going to have watching this fight, you're going to go, oh fuck, someone's going out. And you're going to sit there, eyes glued to the screen the whole time, like, when's it going to happen? When's it going to happen? This fight is going to be a fucking bloodbath war. I'm okay with this fight also being a fight night main event. Totally okay with that. But I don't think these guys need 5 rounds. I think if you do Gene Silva, Josh Emmett, main card, you do it as the feature fight on 310, you do it as the opener of 310 in December, you're in for a fucking war. Sick fight, sick card. Gene Silva, Josh Emmett's the one that I want the most. Let me know what you guys think of these matchups. If you enjoyed the video, please remember to like and subscribe. Love making these matchmaking videos. A lot of these matchups that I make, a fair amount of them do come to fruition. Look at me just fucking unable to use technology, as always. I'm dumb, stupid. Is what it is. If you enjoyed the content, please like and subscribe. Love these matchmaking videos. Some of these fights do come to fruition, so hopefully they continue to do so. I might make a video of all the matchmaking ones that I suggested that do come to fruition. So thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe.